Sniffer. The Sniffer is a tall, humanoid entity dressed in a dark suit-like cloth with thin, fragile limbs and an abnormally large head. His skin is pale and stretched, his facial features deformed. Resting calmly on his head is a dark fedora, giving him the appearance of something that's trying and failing to look human. But the most important detail isn't his face, it's his briefcase, because inside, he carries human skins. Witnesses observed him collecting discarded humanoid carcasses, skin snakes, and bloated bodies, carefully placing them into his briefcase or preparing them using tools like irons and washing machines. His behavior suggests one clear purpose: preservation. The Sniffer does not attack immediately. He checks hiding places, listens for movement, and waits for his target to reveal itself. Once he confirms your location, he becomes relentless, smashing through obstacles, chasing vehicles, and pursuing victims across entire towns. He has also been seen crawling inside empty humanoid corpses, using them like shells, suggesting he doesn't just collect skins, he inhabits them. If you encounter the Sniffer, avoid making sudden movements. Hide immediately and remain completely silent. If he loses track of you, he may temporarily stop searching, but if he confirms you, you might be his next collection in his skin closet. But that raises a question: where do all these skins come from? In the flooded areas, there are corpses left in the water, bloated, swollen, preserved by the flood. The Sniffer uses those bodies for their skin, but calling them dead bodies would be a mistake, because on this island, nothing stays dead. Those bodies are known as the boomers. The boomers are naked, bloated corpses with waterlogged bodies. Their skin is pale and slimy. They look like drowned bodies pulled from deep water, but they move. Boomers are often seen gorging themselves on piles of rotting food inside flooded supermarkets and abandoned hotels. If the boy and the girl get close in their boat, the boomers will swim quickly after them. If not stopped with a harpoon, a boomer will latch onto the boat, and then it bursts. Its swollen body pops like a balloon. Boomers are not just enemies. They are supply. They feed, they swell, they burst, and once emptied, their skin is ready to be taken and turned into skin by the Sniffer. But not every skin the Sniffer takes is usable. Some are discarded. Like I said, on these islands, the dead don't die. They adapt, they evolve, and over time, the discarded skins become the skin snakes. The skin snakes are what happens when a human body loses everything except its skin, but doesn't stop moving. They are humanoid remains composed entirely of loose human skin, with no bones, no organs, and no internal structure. Their bodies have collapsed into empty, shapeless forms, forcing them to move by slithering across the ground like snakes. If you encounter a skin snake, do not slow down. Do not allow yourself to be surrounded. Their movement is fastest across open ground, and hesitation drastically reduces your chances of escape. Creating immediate distance is the only reliable way to survive. But not everything on this island is discarded. Some are kept and raised to serve something greater than themselves. They are known as the Ash Kids. The Ash Kids resemble normal children in size and shape. They wear stereotypical 20th century school uniforms, vests, skirts, and short-sleeve shirts. But everything about them is gray. Their clothes are gray, their skin is gray, and they have no faces. Their bodies appear fragile. When struck, pieces break off like porcelain or stone. With enough force, they can be knocked down. Unlike wild creatures on the island, the Ash Kids do not behave randomly. They operate in groups. They set traps. One hides inside cabinets before ambushing. Some attempt to lure victims using deception. They hurl makeshift spears toward their targets from elevated positions. But they do not consume their victims. They collect them. They drag captured organisms and lower them through a hole in the orphanage entrance. They are delivering offerings. The Ash Kids are not independent predators, because beneath the orphanage, there is something else. Something that created them. They call it the Mother. The Mother is a massive mix of spider plus humanoid entity, with 8 limbs extending from her body. 2 of these limbs function as arms, while the others end in incomplete, stump-like extensions that drag across the ground as she moves. Her body is pale, stretched, and structurally unstable, forcing her to rely on crawling to navigate her environment. She has no visible head. In its place is a large, hollow opening. She sees through it. She feeds through it. The Mother resides beneath the orphanage, hidden below the structure where the spider children live. She is rarely seen fully emerging, instead appearing partially through holes in walls and underground openings, observing her surroundings before acting. Spider children have been observed bringing biological material directly to her, including animal remains. This behavior confirms her role as a central organism within the orphanage structure. Her exact origin is unknown. However, a theory goes by that before the transformation, this place was an orphanage and there was a caretaker who takes care of the children. But after the island mysterious transformation, the caretaker became the mother and the children became the Ash Kids. But not everything on the island is confined to one place. There is a creature in these islands that loves its freedom to choose its prey. It does not wait for victims to come to it. It watches from above, and the moment it gets its chance, it hunts them. They call it the Pelican. The pelican is no longer just a normal bird. It's a massive, heavily deformed version of what was once a normal bird. Its body has grown disproportionately large, and its most disturbing feature is its throat pouch, stretched far beyond its natural limits. It uses this pouch to capture and transport live victims. The pelican was first observed after the island's transformation, emerging from flooded regions and coastal structures. It demonstrates clear signs of intelligence, selecting targets carefully, and transporting them to isolated locations. The pelican has also been observed commanding large flocks of seagulls, which respond to its presence and assist in pursuit. This confirms its position not just as a predator, but as a dominant organism within the island's altered ecosystem. If you encounter the pelican, seek enclosed shelter immediately and avoid open areas. And once it takes you, you disappear from the island's surface, while the pelican hunts from the sky and several other monsters waiting for you on the surface, so you might think you are safe on water. But stop. Safety on these islands doesn't exist. Theirs is a monster that is already waiting in the water, known as the brook horse. It stands motionless in flooded terrain, its pale body partially submerged, its shape resembling what was once a horse. The brook horse is directly based on the Bäckhäst, a creature from Swedish folklore. The organism now present on the island exhibits the same behavioral pattern. It did not attack immediately. It allowed victims to approach on their own. And once they were close enough, it dragged them into the water. Environmental evidence suggests it was once a normal animal before adapting to the island's flooded conditions. Victims who approach flooded areas often do not realize the threat until movement begins, and by then, escape becomes unlikely because the brook horse does not need to find you. Eventually, you find it. Until now, every creature we discuss on these islands has been searching for prey or survivors to hunt down. But some are not hunting at all. Some are simply continuing the last thing they were doing before the island corrupted them. We are talking about the soldiers. They wear military uniforms consistent with early 20th century infantry, carrying rifles, pistols, and mounted machine guns. Their equipment remains functional, and their movements remain deliberate, but their bodies have changed. Their skin appears pale and deteriorated, removing most recognizable human expression. They do not speak, they only act. The soldiers were first observed in areas containing military vehicles, defensive positions, and medical facilities. These environments suggest organized military presence existed on the island before its transformation. That presence did not survive intact. They fight each other constantly. Some patrol. Some remain stationed in the fixed positions. Others detonate explosives when approached, destroying themselves in the process. This behavior suggests fragmented purpose. They remember their function, but not their objectives, because the soldiers are no longer protecting anything. They are simply continuing the last thing they knew how to do: fight, even when there is nothing left to fight for. Everything that happened on this island was leading to something else: the Sniffer, the skin snakes, the spider children, the mother, the pelican, the brook horse, and the soldiers. Every event was part of something larger. This island was not just creating monsters, it was leading to the birth of one final organism: the lamb. The lamb is the only creature on the island whose origin was directly witnessed. Before it appeared physically, the girl began experiencing repeated visions of a normal lamb standing near a well. In the first vision, it appeared small, harmless, and completely normal. However, each time the girl saw it again, the lamb had grown larger. Its body became more unstable, and its behavior became more aggressive. This showed that the organism was developing over time, even before it physically existed in the real world. Eventually, the visions stopped, and the reason became clear. The lamb was no longer in the well. It was inside the girl. This became evident when the girl suddenly collapsed and vomited the lamb out of her own body. The organism emerged from the girl's mouth in the form of a normal sheep. At first, it appeared weak and harmless, barely able to stand. For a brief moment, there was nothing unusual about it, but that changed immediately. The lamb began consuming living organisms. It attacked and ate one of the children, and after consuming its first victim, its body began to grow. Its size increased rapidly, and its anatomy began to change. Human arms and legs started forming from its structure. Each time it consumed another victim, it became larger and more unstable. It continued feeding on other children and soldiers, growing beyond the size of buildings. At this stage, it no longer resembled an animal. It had become something far larger and far more dangerous. Unlike the other creatures on the island, the lamb does not remain in one place. It moves continuously, consuming anything it can reach in order to continue growing. It does not stop, and it does not abandon its targets. The lamb is based on the real-world use of lambs in sacrificial rituals. Historically, lambs were chosen for sacrifice because they symbolized innocence and purity. The lamb on the island began in that same state, innocent and harmless, but after its emergence, that innocence was replaced by continuous growth and destruction. By the time it reached its final size, there was no way to stop it. It had already consumed everything in its path, and it continued growing until there was nothing left to escape from it. So, if you see the final version of the lamb, just relax and accept your fate. This concludes the known entities and observed events of REANIMAL, including the origin and development of the lamb. If you found this analysis useful, you can subscribe to Red Notes for future breakdowns. What do you think the ending of the REANIMAL story truly means? And which creature did you find the most disturbing? You can share your interpretation and theory in the comments. Bye. I will see you around.